Some tragic news now for two families going into this Mother's Day weekend.
Two women murdered in cold blood early this morning as they left a bar in Tremay. They were there celebrating milestones in their lives, but unfortunately, their lives ended shortly after.
Someone hops out and appears to attempt to steal a car being worked on. The shop owner pulls the person out of the car. They run to the street, and a second person pulls a gun.
In case after case, we've seen how juveniles have been fueling the city's spike in carjackings. In our series Wrong Turn, we even heard one juvenile offender explain how impulse and peer pressure are driving kids to participate.
Hold on, YouTube. Hold on. This is 304 Sweet Daddy. Got another interview. About to get straight into it. Excuse me, Mr. Sir. What is your name?
My name is Jason.
I can't hear you, big dog. You gotta speak up a little bit.
My name is Jason Lanier.
Jason?
Jesus.
Jesus. That's different. That's unique. I heard of Jason. It's Jesus.
It's spelled like Jesus, the E is silent.
Oh. Man, come on, man. This interview starting off good already. It smells like Jesus. Alright, but you pronounce it Jesus? I heard of Jesus smell like Jesus. But I ain't never heard of what you said. That's cool, man. Nice little name. Well, tell me this. Tell me this. How old are you?
22.
22? Alright. Where you originally from?
I was born in Georgia. I was raised out here. I've been out here all my life. I was born in a hospital in Georgia.
Alright. So you was born in Georgia? Alright. But you was raised in Orleans. So, explain that to me. How you wind up coming down to the city of New Orleans?
My she adopted me because my mother couldn't take care of kids. She had, you know how lifestyle is when you're growing up in a certain environment.
Right.
Sometimes you gotta let certain things go. You got put in the foster home. Luckily enough, my aunt that moved down here, she also supported. She ended up bringing me with her. So I've been out here all my life.
Alright. So your mom wasn't able to take care of you?
She had her own personal deals going on. She couldn't deal with kids at the time.
What about your dad? Was your dad in the picture?
He was locked up.
Dad was locked up? You have any siblings? Any brothers and sisters?
I got 3 brothers and 1 sister.
What's your current living status right now? You're homeless? You're on the streets? What's going on with you?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both? How did that become, man? How that came?
I mean, I always been moving around, but after high school, like when I graduated, I wanted to do, experience new shit, so I went to Europe. Did a little studying out there. When I came back, I started seeing shit differently around that my people didn't see, and they didn't really, digest it or receive it well. So we clashed, and I ended up outside home like this.
Stella and Gina, behind me, a growing memorial for the 2 women shot and killed earlier this morning here along North Claiborne. Now, I did obtain some exclusive surveillance video of the shooting. We want to warn you, it is very graphic and disturbing video of the shooting, so we're only going to show a part of it, and you will see some gunfire. This surveillance video shows the moments at least 4 women are seen leaving from the hookah joint on North Claiborne. I'm told one of the women was set to graduate from Nunez College on Tuesday. She was there to celebrate that milestone. The other woman was celebrating her 20th birthday.
It was just supposed to be a good time, and it ended up just, unfortunately, 30 minutes before the party was going to end, that's when we heard the shots fired.
Tell me this, did you finish school?
High school.
High school?
Yeah, I didn't go to college.
You didn't go to college?
I wasn't feeling.
Oh,
I didn't want to be in debt.
You didn't want to be in what?
I didn't want to be in debt.
In debt?
In debt to a university.
Oh, all right.
To learn something that I could learn online or going to the library or,
but you know, if you could have got a grant, instead of a loan. A loan you have to pay back. A grant you don't.
Yeah, when you going through high school, middle school, and all that stuff, if they don't tell you stay on top of your grades and give you a reason why, you kind of don't. So once you get to that point, it's kind of hard to get those grants and awards and validations to get in college without having to pay all that extra money. And I was aware of that. So I just took it upon myself to just seek the knowledge out elsewhere instead of just giving up. Because I still went out and got the knowledge, I just didn't get it from university.
Tell me this, man, because you seem kind of young. You have a chance, bro. You have a chance to get this together. How did you become? Tell me one more time. How did you become homeless and on the streets, man? At 22? How that happen?
I mean, like I said, I started becoming aware of a lot of different things going on around me and in the world that a lot of people refuse to acknowledge, including my family. And because of that, we clashed, we had arguments, we had a discussion basically about it, and they didn't feel the same way I felt on the matter. They wanted me to basically bow down to them while they bowed down to someone else without, really telling me what's actually going on. When I saw it from my social, they told me they basically told me if you feel that we, attacking you and so on and so forth, you can leave. That wasn't a free situation. It was a reoccurring thing. I just never was mature enough to speak on it with them. But when I went to Europe and came back and gained the knowledge I gained the maturity to have that discussion with them if they weren't willing to have it. They're more focused on, making money, that type of thing.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm terrible
but, there's the biggest shit in the world going on is just making money, making a dollar. That's how I felt about it.
Man, you sound like you got your head on your shoulder. You're very smart, man. I can tell just by the way you're talking. You very you got a head on your shoulder, man. So tell me this: what are you doing to pick yourself up out this situation? What's your short-term goals? What's your long-term goals, man? Because you super young. You got it. You can get it. You can get it together.
I can, bro. It's just in the past, I done had so many different ideas. Thoughts about what I want to do and where I want to go in life. That when that happened to me, when I came back from Europe and I was ready and prepared to finally take that step, I got stabbed in the back by the people that was, I needed the most. So I got to a point where I just only wanted to receive what God wanted me to receive. Like if God wanted me on the street, healing people and doing that type of thing with the blessing that I was received from God, and that's what I'm doing.
How you got to Europe? I heard you say that like twice. I'm like, I'm hearing things. How you got way up there?
I started getting into different practices, I guess. Like Marie LaRue, for example, right? I started looking into my lineage and my family history and that type of thing. And I saw connections to her and so on and so forth. The ancestors and shit. If you're aware of that type of stuff, the spirituality of it all, they started, pushing me in that direction. So eventually I started making connections with different people online. I met a female that ended up giving me a ticket to France and shit. Ireland, really. We ended up going to France, and I was just studying what you would think she would, the type of stuff she was studying and practicing and indulging herself in, and doing in her lifetime. I was getting into that stuff. Not really necessarily how they promote it, but more so how our ancestors would have promoted it. It's a healing, perhaps. It connects you with your ancestors. It helps you. It's about love, peace, joy, happiness, that type of stuff. A lot of people make it about zombies, killing, death, and so on and so forth. So instead of, essentially, like I said, bowing down to that ideology, I chose to take it upon myself to look and see what it is for myself. And I end up seeing that it's not too different from what the church doing or is trying to do. I don't want to speak on the church.
What's your favorite childhood memory?
I don't have too many at this point.
You don't have too many favorite childhood memories?
After Katrina, my childhood kind of went down the drain. I started experiencing things, older folks are supposed to be experiencing. So I had to grow up faster. A lot of it had to grow up fast, but I had to grow up fast. That's why I didn't really have too much. I didn't have too many friends at a young age. It wasn't until I got to high school and shit like that where I really started, making different connections, having different conversations with people who got, that type of knowledge in their head. Even though I am young, that's why I was able to do certain things at such a young age while I'm on the street at such a young age, so on and so forth.
How old you was when Hurricane Katrina hit?
I say 5 years old.
The guy aimed the gun at me and I just let go and backed off. And that's all I could do.
This all happened Monday to Michael Gaspard. The suspects drove away, but it was not an isolated incident.
I know of 3 other cases besides this one in the last week and a half.
5 hours.
What's your worst childhood memory?
Probably when when I see my mother beat up her own mother as a child. And all I could do was just, run in the closet and hide and cry. She told me call the cops. And, it's kind of hard to call the cops when your own people.
Your own family, right?
Especially when you don't know what's really going on.
Right. So that can be considered childhood trauma. And that plays a big part on people growing up and doing what they're doing. I always just say, when you see people out here doing what they're doing, they ain't just grow up and just start doing what they're doing. Something happened in their childhood that triggered them, that they never got no help from, they never got no counseling from, and they kind of messed up and it's making them do what they do,
Yeah. There's a lot of factors that play into how we come about in our lives in the future, leading up to the future. There's a lot of trauma that played a big role in how I am today. But I don't necessarily, look at it like that. I'm glad I am the way I am today. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be able to do the stuff I do. I wouldn't be aware of the stuff I'm aware of. I wouldn't be able to carry myself the way I carry myself.
Tell me this: are drugs a part of your life?
Not like that. No.
What you mean, not like that?
I mean, I don't indulge in them like that. I smoke weed, but that's more of a herb, a medicinal herb than anything.
Right.
When I hear drugs, I think of like opioids.
Hard drugs. You do none of that?
I have, but I don't carry myself with it.
So you have, which ones you dabble with? Like, which ones you have tried?
I mean, I've tried coke. That was like a peer pressure type of thing. We would walk into the bar. We already had a couple of drinks. He ran into a couple of his partners, and it was like, you might as well try it one time. It wasn't nothing like that. It was under control. We handled it maturely.
See that? So you tried it and you didn't get hooked on it or nothing like that? I heard of some people that do that. They might try drugs for the first time, and some people get hooked and some people don't.
I guess it depends on your tolerance sometimes. And a lot of, and
your mind,
your psyche, your mind. A lot of people they use it as a crutch.
Right.
Like numb the pain, numb the trauma, stuff like that.
Have you ever been diagnosed or suffering with any type of mental illness or mental disease?
As a child, they said I had ODD.
Yeah, who?
ODD.
That is.
Overly defiant disorder.
Overly defiant. I ain't never even heard of that one.
That's my point. Not real. They just didn't like that I was a smart kid.
Oh, all right.
A teacher would say something smart to me, and I say something smart back, and they didn't think I had the intelligence to make that remark. And instead of, just brushing it off, they take offense.
So you was kind of bad in school?
I wouldn't say I was bad, I just was aware of a lot of stuff at a young age. That's all that was. I had respect for all of them. You know what I'm saying?
So you talking to teachers, you wasn't respecting your elders, man.
I was, but you gotta understand, a lot of the teachers back in the day didn't give a fuck. They just were working for money.
I heard.
No shit.
I heard. Right.
At one point in my life, I was so dedicated in school that, like, say you took a test and I get 100 on it, and as the teacher passing up, the rest of the test up, I see my partner and shit, they get, lower grade. I felt some type of way about that shit, Something gotta be wrong. Like, motherfuckers not dumb like that, bro. It's one thing to say, they not paying attention, but at the end of the day, you putting in the energy and effort as a teacher to make sure that the student understands what he needs to understand, he or she, Yeah.
Have you ever been in jail or been arrested before?
A couple of times, I ain't never seen
Or you was kind of like in and out? If you don't mind me asking.
Sorry.
If you don't mind me asking, what was your charges?
Most of the misdemeanors, speeding, drugs, disturbing the peace, that type of shit.
Right, so you never really had nothing serious. Man, you got a chance to get about this streets, man. I'm saying, you try getting yourself together and try looking for employment or like a regular 9 to 5
That's the crazy thing, bro. I've already done that. And the fucked up part is, the cops is the whole reason that I got fired.
What?
I was working at a chicken shop on Canal Boulevard.
Alright.
Crispy Crunchy.
Alright.
I gave them at least 9 months, 6 months. And then within that time frame, they added pizza, corn dogs, tacos, all that shit to the menu because we was getting that much revenue. So it's like, I clearly have the potential. I've been had the potential because I've been working since I've been a teenager. But at the end of the day, I got to the point where I don't want to work for somebody who's going to put in the same effort. You're supposed to be my manager, bad etiquette, bad business.
So you don't have a hard time respecting authority, huh? With authority?
I have a hard time respecting authority when authority don't respect me.
Oh, okay.
You can't expect me to show you respect just because you got a badge on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Respect go both ways.
Yeah,
right.
It's not even that simple. It's more so due to all the different events that have happened, due to people abusing that type of authority.
Right.
So at this day and age, you can't really expect that type of respect from everybody, just because you got that type of position or role in life. Especially if you don't dish the same up.
Tell me this, man. I got a deep question for you. Think about this. When you leave this earth, when you die, what do you want to be remembered for?
Nothing really, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Nothing?
Oh.
What you mean?
At this point in life, I feel like I'm satisfied with the shit I have done for people, Because I've always been the type of person to put others first. Even when I am in situations like this, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not really, as long as God see it, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I'm not that type of person. As long as God is aware of my, my dealings, my workings, how I carry myself, I'm good, bro.
What's your biggest regret in life?
Probably, honestly, I ain't gonna lie to you, leaving, going to Europe.
Leaving on to Europe. Why?
How do I gain the knowledge that I wanted to gain? The one man that was, had the capacity and capability to help me get in that doorway. When I came back, I ended up dying while I was out there. I wasn't able to go to his funeral or nothing like that. I wasn't able to see him when he was sick in his sick bed. I messaged him and shit, but he couldn't. The message wasn't going through and that type of shit. So I wanted to be here for that at least, so he left.
Are you happy like right now in your life?
Happy? No.
I know you're not.
Nah.
Hey.
I'm humble. I'm not happy, bro.
Yeah, I want you to get it together, man. Because if there's anybody that I see that's young and got potential, man, it's you, man. You definitely can get it, man. You can get it together.
I appreciate that,
for
man.
real.
I feel the same way. It's just like I said, it's a lot of stuff going on in the world that I refuse to be a part of, just so I can live comfortably. You know what I'm saying?
Like what? No, I don't know what you're saying. Explain it, man.
Like the shit the government's doing. The government do a lot of slick ass shit around us on a daily basis.
Don't tell me you about to give us a government keeping us down speech.
No,
you're not about to do this one.
I'm just pointing out the fact that they do that shit.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say, these people standing next to us is, spies or some shit, and they doing some crazy ass shit to me right now.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I see shit like that. At one point in my life, bro, just like I told you, I went to Europe and, studied certain shit about our history and our past and how a lot of people travel from over there and over here and establish America and that type of shit. I also studied how, cops interrogate motherfuckers and how they operate, how the government operate, how the military operate, all that shit. I was trained. I went to high school. I had to go to a military school on the West Bank, known Marine Corps. I was trained by them, all that shit. They taught me how to shoot, all that shit. It's like when you have to go and experience shit like that, it changes your perspective on life. You start seeing certain different things going on around you that a lot of regular people wouldn't see because they don't have that training or experience.
Right. Well, I know you're young. I'm gonna ask you this question anyway. Have you figured out what this thing called life is about yet?
What it's about? I wouldn't. Realistically, apart from what the scripture says, life is what you make it, brother. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's kind of hard to be like, life is this, life is that. A lot of people have a lot of different perspectives and outlooks and opinions on life. I don't want to label it, I'd rather life be what life is,
I know I asked some good questions, but you get some good answers, man.
I tried. I don't want to make the interview, boring. I want people, when they look at it, I want them to actually listen, I don't want to be like, this nigga boring.
I'm telling you what the comments gonna say. The comments gonna say exactly what I'm saying, man. You have potential to really get up out your situation. They're not gonna want to see you like this. You're too young, you're too intelligent, you're very articulate, you're smart. Man, you got what it takes. You're respectful. They're not gonna want to see you. You know what I'm saying? They gonna pray you get about this situation. But tell me this. So far, what's the most important lesson you learned in life?
To judge yourself before you judge others, in all honesty.
Say that again?
Judge yourself before you judge others.
Judge yourself before you judge others. You hear that, y'all?
Like how Mike Jack said, you gotta start with the man in the mirror?
Yes.
Yeah.
Start with the man in the mirror. Man, that's good that you say that. You know the name of this channel? My channel? No Judge Zone. So I'm happy you said that. Because, my video guests, the people I'm interviewing, me, everybody out there, the people in the comments, man, this is no judge zone. It's like, how can you Who are you to judge others? How can you judge somebody? You know what I'm saying? What the word of God says about judging. So I'm happy you say that, man, because it fits. It fits the challenge. If you can go back and change one thing in your life, what would it be?
Not too much, in all honesty, bro. If I'm being realistic about it, dude, I probably would make it a little bit easier, you know? Like how certain, like, some, you know, certain people grew up not having to deal with, not having certain difficulties to deal with, you know, like, because, you know, elders or their parents already took care of what they needed to take care of before they was born, so they could just come in the world and just, you know, go about what they need to go about. And certain of us, some of us, I should say, we have to get it on. You gotta get out the mud.
We've seen the alarming videos. We've heard from frustrated victims. Now, through NOPD carjacking data compiled through a public records request, we have a much clearer picture of who's stealing the cars and where. The statistics for 2021, a record for carjackings, show that juvenile suspects arrested outnumber adults by more than 2 to 1, and about 2/3 of the stolen vehicles are quickly recovered.
What that suggests is that the motive was not to sell the car or bring it to a chop shop and salvage parts from it. It's transportation.
Like I said, my people, which is my mother, you know, if she had to read me, I had to get out the mud. But unfortunately, due to my aunt taking me in, my uncle.
Why your mom? Let's get deep into this, man. Let's get deep into this, man, because this is a deep channel. Why your mom couldn't take care of you, man? What was going on with your mom? Was she dabbling in the streets? Was she on drugs? What was going on with that?
All that.
All that? Man.
I mean, my people like to call her fast. You know that term? You know,
fast?
Yeah, you know how people see certain women out here and they say she's fast. Yeah. That's how they acknowledge my mother, you know? Even as a child, you know, people would be like, oh, your mama, oh, da 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 da. So yeah, I would imagine, you know, I wasn't deaf. I was a child, I was a baby.
You wouldn't know, right?
I couldn't, you know, I see a man with her, but I'm not gonna know what the fuck he's doing. I'm not, you know, you probably her best friend, you probably her, you know, you could be my uncle at the end of the day. I don't know unless she tell me. And she ain't really, you know, she wasn't the type of woman to be like, yeah, I'm about to go fuck this man. Sit over there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She kept it to herself. It was my people, you know, who bashed her, made her look a certain way. When they all, at one point in life, you know, was on the streets, moving fast.
When the last time you saw your mom?
A while ago, not recently.
Recently? Like I estimate, like?
Probably like 4 to 6 years.
4 to 6 years ago? So you was a teenager. How that was? How the meeting was when you saw her?
It's the same every time I show her love, bro. I don't hold nothing against her. I don't hold grudges, man. I mean, I'm the type of person who, if I feel as though you have the maturity to be aware of what you've done, then I'm going to acknowledge what you did. For the most part, I'm not going to hold nothing against you. Especially if you know you was going through something at the time when you treated me like that or whatever. You know, you may have some, you know, your own trauma. Unable to deal with projecting that to me. You know? Sometimes you gotta think about that type of shit.
Tell me this, man. When you're alone, what goes through your mind? What you think about?
God.
God?
God.
God?
Yeah.
What about God?
God has in store for me moving forward, you know, because I've already, you know, God has already given me so much as it is, just by giving me life, you know. So I just try to stay as humble as possible and stay as true as possible with God, connected to God, so I can achieve and reach. So you know, the destination God wants me to reach.
You ever get lonely or depressed sometimes?
Not anymore.
Not anymore? What you did to get yourself up out of here?
Acknowledge that it's shit beyond this, beyond me. You know, we got ancestors, we got all that shit around us. Just because we can't see it don't mean we're alone.
When the last time you had a good cry?
Yesterday.
Yesterday? What it was that made you cry?
Church folks stole my shit.
Church folks stole? Church folks?
Yeah.
Stole your stuff? What you mean?
I be walking around with a king. Like I told you, I ain't gonna say I know who, but I know some of the shit to what Marita both study in practice, taught people out here.
Right.
So I was walking around with a cane. I had a cane, a guy, it's like I'm like a guy, like, basically, in that realm. So I'm walking around with the cane, and I go over there to pray, basically, like she did. And I put the cane down, and basically after I finished praying, motherfucker ran off of my shit. Everybody out there didn't see the motherfucker. So clearly they picked it up. You ain't about to bro. I had a piece of head wrapped on it, a rusty nail, a voodoo dog, like I had buku shit on the stick. You can't run off with no shit like that.
Right.
Motherfucker not see you, bro.
Right.
It's like you having on a whole Kevda outfit and running up and down the street, knocking motherfuckers out. Motherfuckers gonna see you. You see what I'm saying? Like it kinda stood out.
Right.
So you can't. It's either they picked it up. Nah, they picked it up.
Man,
ain't no homeless man got no shit.
Your family know you're homeless right now. Have they ever reached out? Well, have they ever reached out and say, man, you don't have to be on the street?
Fuck no.
Why?
Because that's how they are. That's why I'm outside. I'm gonna tell you this, right? When they kicked me out, it's a church by my little brother's school. A school he used to go to, and they let me stay in there for a little bit, right? As I'm sleeping in the church during the nighttime, my uncle give me a call asking me if I'm all right. Like the reason I'm outside on the street. Why you acting like you care all of a sudden? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't move like that. That shit fake.
Right.
It's not real love, bro.
Well, tell me this, man. What would you say? What would be your advice? What would you say to people who judge homeless people, street people? What would you say to them?
What would I say to them? Yeah. What would I say about them?
Both. Look into the camera.
Like
talk
I said,
to
they
them.
ignorant, one. But in terms of what I say to them, I mean, I wouldn't say too much. It don't take a rocket scientist to understand that we live in a fucked up society sometimes. Right. You know, it's not 100% fucked. There's a lot of elements of it that is fucked up. And that's why a lot of people are on the street right now. So when you walk past a homeless person, unless you genuinely know them, it's kind of arrogant and ignorant and selfish and toxic to address them in a negative manner.
What's the worst advice someone ever gave you?
Get a job.
What? Why you keep making me say stuff like what? What you mean? How getting a job is the worst advice?
Because I done had plenty of jobs. I know how this shit work. You can't just tell me to get a job expecting my life to turn around when I had two different jobs. I done worked at Road Bears before. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I done worked at establishments like that literally tell you gotta dress a certain way, you gotta have a certain haircut, and you're not coming in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like you go to McDonald's, they don't give a fuck. So I know how that shit is, you know? So I just got to a point where if a motherfucker is genuinely not on that level, I'm talking about like CEO, like genuinely, when he or she, when they come in the building, it's gonna get done, you know, guaranteed, without no issues, no problems, no hiccups. And I can't work for you, bro.
So you don't think getting a job is the best way of getting out your situation?
No, it's motherfuckers on the street that make way more money than motherfuckers that got jobs, bro.
Yeah.
It's motherfuckers sitting in their house right now, sitting on their computer.
What they doing though?
It depends. Some people got businesses, some people out here.
You're right. You don't want to go that other. Yeah, you don't want to go that other route, not the hustling route. You don't want to go there because that's just going to lead you down a deeper hole. So
I'm knowing, but that's already a part of my life, bro. I grew up around it. I'm trying to tell you that it's kind of hard for me to acknowledge that and have that been a part of my life, and they act like that's going to do something for me. And I know it's not.
Right. So you say that getting a job is you say getting a job is the worst advice, and what was the best advice someone ever gave you?
That's, I don't know, man. Probably, I ain't gonna lie to you, when I was smaller, I used to get upset a lot. That small shit. Nobody really ever acknowledged that I had trauma. I was doing that because of the trauma.
You went through, right?
Yeah, so my uncle, the one that passed, I told you about, he'll tell me, he'll give me certain, he'll teach me certain shit to calm me down. Like going for a walk, you know, breathing, counting, that type of shit, you know? And I said, you know, I still do that type of stuff to this day. He would piss me off, a lot of people piss me off, you know, doing ignorant shit. Not because I just don't like people.
What's the best advice you ever given?
I don't know, bro. I give a lot of advice, but I'm not, you know, that's not why I give it. It's kind of hard for me to say the best advice I ever given when I don't give advice to seek acknowledgement. I give advice because I've been through enough to give advice, you know? So I feel like, that's my way of giving back. You know, God put me through all that in order for me to, you know, be a helping hand to those individuals who don't have anyone in their life to lift them up. Don't have the confidence or, you know, maturity or energy or motivation to do it themselves. You know? It's not easy all the time.
What's failure to you?
Giving up.
What's success to you?
Peace.
Peace?
And oneself. Peace in yourself. Mastering oneself. You know, all of your emotions, your thoughts, how you think, how you carry yourself, how you move, how you treat people, you know, how you treat yourself, all of it.
Some of this, man, for the youngsters that's cutting up out here, you all know, man, New Orleans got a real serious problem right now with crime. So all the youngsters that's cutting up and doing all this crazy crime stuff, man. I mean, New Orleans always have been a violent city, but back in the day, New Orleans was violent for a reason. Either it was like drugs, or either it was fighting over territory, it was fighting over money, fighting, shooting or whatever, killing over money, drugs, whatever. Now these days, they're just doing it over stupid stuff, dumb stuff. The little smallest little thing, man. But what, by you being yourself, what would you say that we can do as a city, as a state, that we can get this thing under control, bro? What is these kids, youngsters, not kids, but what is they missing? What do they need to at least stop it, slow it down, slack it up? What do they need, man? What's going on? Because you out there, you want to talk to them. I mean, you ain't out there doing all that, but you can relate to them.
I was at one point.
Talk
to them. Support, man. You gotta talk to them like you're talking to me, man. That's all. A lot of them had to raise themselves like I had to. You know what I'm saying? So all it is a matter of having that conversation with them, seeing how they tick, seeing how they brain work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of them got real knowledge in their head, but some of them don't. You know what I'm saying? So they gotta move a certain way, they gotta do certain shit. They grew up around violence, you know, they grew up around hearing gunshots, waking up to that shit, so you know what I'm saying? That's what they think.
Right.
That's what they feel they gotta carry themselves as, or they gotta indulge in order to keep surviving.
I'm glad you said that. Do you think some of that thing is taught? Do you think it's generational? Do you think their mom, their dad, their uncles, their aunties, their grandmas, their grandpas taught them that?
I mean, it's mostly men out here teaching them that shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got, you know, OGs in my family that was on death row that I wanted to be like, because I seen how they was moving, what they was doing and shit like that. But I detached myself from that shit.
Right.
A lot of them don't have, like I said, the motivation or the knowledge to do that.
Right.
They feel like they gonna be treated like they pussy or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Because that's what it's taught. Right. this is a good question when I'm about to ask you right here. Look, this is a big debate. Do you think the music that they're listening to have something to do with it? Because if you coming from a home and you're not learning value, principles, morals, respect, if your home is not teaching you that, and then you listening to these rappers that's talking about, man, the rap music that got out of control, the stuff that they're talking about in rap, which I kind of understand it in a way, because the music industry, the people at the top who run the industry is not going to stop these rappers from talking about what they're talking about, because it's making them billionaires. Their sons and daughters not out there. Their sons and daughters not destroying the whole race. But so they can care less about what this rapper is influencing and teaching and having. They don't care. They sons and daughters, the music industry people, like the higher ups in the CEOs, they don't. You think their sons and daughters out there listening to these rappers and doing it? No, it's really the poor community, man. People living in poverty, people living in the hood, people living in the projects. It's people like that that's taking each other out, listening to the music. So do you think the music, other than them coming from a bad background, do you think the music is playing a big part?
I wouldn't say a big part, but it does play a factor. You know what I'm saying? You gotta understand, it's not a new thing. You know what I'm saying? People like BG, RAINN, David, Birdman, come on, brother. They all gave out the same type of genre of music.
Right.
But it was a certain respect I would imagine. You know, a lot of the newer people, they don't move the same way. They speak about the same shit, but they don't move the same way. They're a bit more disrespectful with this shit.
Right.
So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard hearing them speak about it in their music, and then understanding how music grabs people and people gravitate towards the shit. It's kind of hard for them not, endorsing that shit sometimes.
Right, because music is powerful, man. And people don't get that. Music can play a big part of anything or any emotion. Music can make you sad. Music can make you happy. Music can make you dance. Music can make you want to go out there and hurt somebody. So music, man, when you think about it, bro, we use music for everything.
You feeling their emotions, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if they speak, like, I can't even say that because Wayne, you know what I'm saying? Wayne make music to dance to, but Wayne also make music to shoot a nigga up to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's kind of give and take sometimes. Sometimes you gotta be mature enough to take it upon yourself to listen to that song, but make sure you don't go out there and act like you Wayne about to shoot a nigga up.
Over the weekend, New Orleans police say there were more than 10 carjackings or similar crimes all across the city.
And these are in addition to the dozens of carjackings that happened earlier this year, as in a few weeks ago. One victim told Erica Ferrando about his attack in the Marigny last week.
2:30 in the morning, January 10th, a man who didn't want to share his identity is sitting here in his car after leaving a bar on Rampart Street near Elysian Fields in the Marigny.
And I texted a friend and they said, they were going to come and meet me. So I was just sitting in my car for a moment, looking at my phone.
Then surveillance video shows a white car pull up next to him.
Just from nowhere came two people from either side of my car. The driver's side door was ripped open. The person on the other side managed to get that door open. And they were both inside my car.
So, y'all gotta answer the guy someday, man.
Right. So, New Orleans is the murder capital of the world again. So, what would be your advice one more time? What do you suggest that we have to do to slow these youth down, man?
Slow them down? You can't slow them down, bro.
Well, something got to get. It wasn't like this in a few years ago. It just got like this.
You understand, it's a thing. Evolution is real, bro. Right. Even in the hood, evolution is real. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta really look at them before you before you be able to come up with a way to slow them down, you gotta really speak to them. Like I said, you gotta really interact with them. You gotta really see how they live.
Right.
It's one thing to see it from the outside, but it's another thing to be walking with them down the street and motherfucker interact with them, and you understand why they doing that and what's the real
I
beef
guess
between them.
that's what makes my YouTube channel so different, because I'm looking at everybody's talking about them, but nobody's talking to them. And I'm the first person and only person in New Orleans that's actually going to the streets and talking to them. And not even the news is talking to them. They might talk to a family here and there, but the news ain't actually, they ain't really talking to the streets, you know what I'm saying? The ones that's out there really, out there getting it, the news people. And I think the reason why a lot of people not talking to them is because they're scared. That's a scary thing to do, man. Walk up to these people who doing all kinds of stuff and talking about, I'm going to hold a conversation. It's scary. It's, and I think that's why most people don't do it, because they're scared. And they have every right to be. So what you're saying is true, but people scared. They're scared to do that. And it's not unreasonable to be scared, so that's why. Most people don't understand.
Okay.
Right.
You're on the street with black, sign of quarantine.
Break out of that shell eventually.
Right.
Eventually. We're not gonna get nowhere, you know what I'm saying?
So, you think it's bad parenting also? As well?
You're walking with traffic.
That's a job in itself, raising a
Right now we're still outside.
human being. It's a job in itself. You don't put in every bit of effort that you need to make sure that that individual, is raised correctly. So when they do leave your life, they don't have to worry about coming back to you or having getting fucked over outside. It's like studying for a test, bro. You can't expect to get no 100 on the test if you don't put in, the effort to study for it. The same thing with raising a child. If you don't put in the effort to make sure that child knows what they need to know, and so on and so forth, then you can't expect them to come out and move with intelligence or move with maturity or move without having to fuck somebody up or whatever.
What's your purpose?
Well, I don't have no real purpose other than what God made me aware of. That's, healing. I heal people with my words, with how I carry myself. When they see me, still pushing, still fighting, even though I don't really have too much of them. And it gives them a boost. You know what I'm saying? Or like, for example, like me having this conversation with you and allowing you to record me and put it online and shit, is gonna heal certain people. Hearing me say certain shit that they wouldn't expect somebody out here on the street to see.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They probably expecting me to be like, nah, these niggas fucked up, fuck them, they a bunch of junkies, street rats, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They need to be arrested, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying, brother?
Dude, you've been a very good interviewee. We at the end of this interview, man. So let's have some fun, man, before we end it, okay? Tell people if you want to know a little bit more about you. What's your zodiac sign?
Gemini.
Gemini. Alright, cool. You have a favorite food?
Probably pizza.
Pizza?
Yeah.
What about a favorite color?
I want to say orange or black at this point.
Orange or black? Which one? You don't want orange. That's that Jill suit color. You don't want that.
I like Halloween. I like the vibe. That's all that is. That's why I say orange and black.
You can be invisible or fly. Which one would you pick?
Probably fly, bro. I ain't something invisible.
Cool. You kind of feel invisible being out here on the street? Definitely. You rather be right or happy?
Say it again?
You rather be right or happy?
Oh, right.
Right? You rather be feared or respected?
I don't care, honestly.
You don't care about either one?
Cause that shit at this point in life is like is out there is absolute. It's unnecessary. You should already, you know what I'm saying? You should already, if you want to be respected, it should be innate to respect another motherfucker.
Right.
You can't expect respect without respecting the person. Right. I'm not worried about nobody. I'm not worried about nobody being scared of me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If God want a motherfucker to be scared of me, God's gonna make a motherfucker scared of me. I ain't gonna lie to you.
So you big on respect, yeah? That's good. That's good. Tell me this, man. Kingdom principles or street principles?
Is that kingdom?
You can choose which one. Kingdom principles or street principles?
First.
Huh?
I said the first only thing God did.
Wait, what?
I said the first.
The first?
Kingdom.
Kingdom, right.
You wouldn't have a street without a kingdom, brother.
True, but
I mean, would, not necessarily.
It's like which one you rather
still
live by,
exist.
street rules
So what I'd rather
kingdom rules.
Bro, it's kind of hard to see that. They don't got no more rules on the street nowadays. They used to. They don't got no rules out here no more. They can go what the fuck they want to. So it's kind of hard to be like street.
Yeah.
When I know, because I grew up, I was raised by OGs, so I know it is rules and shit. But
That goes back
follow
to
that shit.
That goes back what I was telling you before. Back in the day, they were doing all that for a reason. Now they doing all this just for no reason. Not for a little small reason.
That's why I say clean.
Check it out. This is a New Orleans case. Cash money or no limit?
Cash money, brother.
Cash money? Dude, I like to end all my interviews with a prayer. Would you like to see a prayer? I mean, it's called a sentence. You ever thought about giving your life back to Jesus?
I already have.
I already have. That's good.
I'll tell you.
That's good. So you mind doing this prayer with me, man? I mean, you don't have to.
I don't know. I'll see it.
Huh?
Oh, you gotta show it to me.
I got you. You ready? All right. Repeat after me. Say, Lord Jesus.
Lord Jesus.
Lord Jesus.
Lord Jesus.
I believe that you're the Son of God. That you went to the cross. You died. And you rose again. For my salvation. Lord Jesus, I repent. Forgive me. I love you. I turn from my old ways. I don't want to live life my way. I want to live life your way. I ask you now, Lord, to come into my heart. I sin. Forgive me. Wash me. Cleanse me. Help me. Please save me and make me ready for your return. Come in now, God. Take over my life. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. Amen. No judge zone. We got another one.